Hey everybody, OscarTruckersAuthority.com. So today we're actually going to go over setting up your USDOT and MC number. I'm also going to go over a few things. I'm going to go over all the errors that I see when someone tries setting this up without the proper experience, and as well as a few other things, because everyone thinks that, or there's a handful of people that just think it's just about getting the DOT. Hey, let me get the DOT so I can get on the road. And guys, it's really much more than that. Really, setting up the DOT and MC is just the basics and all this. There's really a lot more. And what you're essentially doing is opening up a business, not just getting your USDOT. And there is a lot more than just running for someone or being leased onto someone and then going to apply for your own DOT. And I'm going to go over some of those things. The very first thing I do want to go over is what we consider the three main reasons that we see new startups go out of business. The very first one, and not in any order, but these are the biggest problems that we see. So the first one that I see is vehicle maintenance. So, and even though you're supposed to check your vehicle, do your pre-trip inspection, and as well as go through, FMCSA. FMCSA is actually a really great website. They have they actually updated. So although they have a lot of really good material, it used to be a lot harder to find, but they actually have what they go over on all of these inspections. So I'll put some links at the bottom of this, so you guys can go ahead and just they have their own. It's called a safety planner, and on there it actually tells you all the laws, and it tells you what they look over. There's different type of inspections and what each inspection what they're going to be looking for. So, and this has to do with your vehicle maintenance, like. So if your vehicle is really messed up and you're going through DOT and you're getting these inspections and they're putting you out of service, I mean, I'm gonna get there into a minute into your DOT putting you out of business because of the violations. But just your vehicle alone, I see some companies. Your vehicle is your tool, and it's really important to know whether you should purchase or lease, and that's something for you guys to do some homework on. But if you grab something that's junk and you don't have a replacement for that, or you don't have capital, I mean, you're if something were to happen and you don't have a backup for that, you're probably going to go out of business, and that's something to keep in mind. And even if you have insurance in place, and they can get you another vehicle, it's still gonna it's there's still a whole process to it. So something to keep in mind. You really want equipment that is going to last, and hopefully you guys also have some mechanic skills. If you do, it will really help you out. If not, that's okay. But if you do, you're lucky. You're right. It'll help you out a lot, save you on some money. The other thing, which I was talking about, is the USDOT violations. So, and this is for everyone, but I see this happen more when you bring on leased on drivers, right? You start making your first couple of runs, you're like, hey, I got this. Hey, you know what? I'm bringing on this truck and this truck and this truck. Well, I've had clients where you guys gotta know something. When you bring someone on board, whether it's a leased on operator or an employee driver, it's your DOT that's on the line. If you bring someone on with their own equipment, you bring another owner op with their own equipment, and they go and their vehicle, they're not up to par with their vehicle. They don't have a monthly maintenance plan. They're not periodically checking it daily, weekly, scheduling out maintenance. Well, that's going to fall on your DOT. So although they're the ones who are going to, the vehicle is going to be put out of service and until it's fixed, it goes on your record, and it actually does not go on their record. So if they wanted to, they can open up a clean DOT after they've messed yours up. So it's something to keep in mind. Yeah, they are independent contractors, but you're bringing them on. So even though they're independent contractors, your business should have a vehicle maintenance plan in place to go ahead and stay on top of their vehicle. And I know that they should do it, but again, it's your business. So if you're not on top of it, I mean, it's most likely that they're not going to be on top of it either, right? And yes, there are some good people you can find out there that can take care of their own stuff, but I'm just generalizing it that this is one of the things that I see is people bring on other independent contractors, and it just screws up their DOT. So something to keep out, be aware is your DOT is very important. That's actually going to dictate the loads, future loads you're going to be getting, right? Brokers are going to be looking at this, and if they see all sorts of violations, they're not going to be too happy, and they're not going to give you loads. We have clients that we've seen because the way the DOT, everyone gets a score with DOT. You start off with 0. When you get audits, they score you on those. Not your first audit, the new entrant audit. When the very first one you do, you don't get scored on that. You can get shut down if you're operating incorrectly, but you won't get scored on that. You'll get scored on everything else, your inspection. So you have this score that starts off with 0, and the more inspections you don't pass, that score keeps climbing. Well, once you're at a 70%, it's gonna be tough for you once you're way up there. If you're basically on the point of going out of business because you're not getting that many loads, and or your insurance rate is gonna go up by 40-50%. So if you guys heard about these companies where their insurance rates just went up, skyrocket, it's always because of the DOT. For the most part, it's always because of the DOT violations. So it's not just because the insurance rates went up. Do insurance rates go up? Obviously, you guys will see that very, very common. But as you go down the line, there's also companies that open up the door and give you more discounts. But most times, why these insurance rates go up or even put companies out of business is because their DOT score is messed up. And rightfully so. Basically, they're saying they're a high risk. They're not taking care of their equipment. They're not watching over their guys. I mean, we don't want people like that on the road with these heavy machines. So it makes sense why they'll put your business, why they'll shut it down, right? You're not on top of your maintenance. You're not on top of your employees, and when that happens, that's where your accident exposure increases. So, something to keep in mind. The next part. So we have the vehicle maintenance, basically not having good enough equipment and not having a backup plan for it. The other thing is USDOT violations. Just if you get too many violations, you're going to get less loads and higher insurance premiums. All right, something to keep in mind. And then the last part is loads. The other reason, obviously, right, is loads, not getting enough work. And the one thing that we recommend is that if you're planning on setting up your USDOT, you're already getting your stuff ready, you should also be looking for brokers to work with a lot. Try to get anywhere from 15 to 20 brokers. And you're not going to work with all of them, but you want to submit all of them. All right. What you want to do during this time. And so let me go back a little. We see a lot of business that they'll go out because they don't have loads. So what we normally do is we just get them we get them connected with more brokers. That's what you should be doing already. Like that's your marketing. The biggest parts in business is marketing and sales. So you have to market yourself out there, and then your sales part is going to be negotiating the rates. Now you might not have to do that because you can just get connected with brokers. So you have to market yourself out there and let these companies know you exist. My tip would be, so this takes some time. If you're getting the MC number, so I know we're not jumping into it yet, but if you're getting the MC number, it takes 21 business days for FMCSA to activate, which is basically a whole month. So while you're setting up your DOT, you should actually be calling out to these brokers, going on LinkedIn, Facebook, Googling freight brokers near you, and start asking for a carrier packet. And guys, brokers are looking for you as much as you're looking for them. All right. So it is very important that you market yourself and you get connected with as many brokers as you can as possible. This way, by the time that and all of them, by the way, are going to say we need this, we need that, and you won't be ready. But at least you can have an email ready. Same email, right? Just have it ready to go. That way you just start, you send the email, then clear out the name, send another email, clear out the name, send another email to these brokers. Have everything ready to go. And like I said, at first they're gonna tell you, oh, you need your MC authority letter. We need this other stuff. And you might not have it ready, but that's okay. You're just getting the contact so that you can go ahead and start sending it out. Getting in contact with brokers should be a weekly job for you. Like you shouldn't stop doing that. Just see like this, it's basically you're just setting yourself up to have more loads coming your way. So, and there's load boards, right? You have load boards, and load boards is really great too because you can actually make new relationships through there as well. Get their contact information and send your packet out to them, right? Okay, so those are the three biggest things that we see. Again, it's vehicle maintenance problem, right? Vehicle going down, USDOT violation. Basically, you're not on top of your compliance, which I'll go over, and loads, not getting enough work, right? So let's go ahead and actually get started setting up your USDOT. So I'm in FMCSA actually updated their website. So I'm over here on their homepage, and on their homepage, just go over to registration. And when you come over to registration, just come down here to get started. And this is basically saying, hey, you're not making things up, you're not falsifying any information. Yes, that is correct. Okay, so the USDOT is roughly going to take about probably like 45 minutes to knock out. Not too crazy, just a couple little things that I'll be pointing out that you don't want to mess up on. The good thing about this system is that you can actually start and then you can save it and come back later if you want to in case you get busy. So I'm going to be a new applicant, and you guys, I'm going to do my own DOT. So we're going to call it Oscar's Trucking LLC. And before you come to this part, you already have to have the business structure set up, whether that's an LLC, corporation, sole proprietor, whatever that may be. This section right here is basically to tell you that on your right-hand side, you have your menu options. And pretty much from here, you're just going to be using previous and the next button. I'm not really going to be doing a whole lot, but they're just telling you that you do have the options of going through the menu and also just going back and forth through here. Then it's telling you, hey, make sure that you have your EIN or your social security number ready, your Dun & Bradstreet number, and your company offers it with title. And Dun & Bradstreet, not everyone's going to have this. And this is just in case you want to go ahead and start building credit for your business. Company offers with titles, basically owners, right? So FMCSA say, hey, get it ready. You're going to need that info. So they're saying that if you need, if at the end of this you need insurance, please make sure that you file insurance with FMCSA. And they'll tell you if you need insurance. I'll show you guys that as we go, as we move forward. Designation of process agent notice. This is actually the BOC3 that they talk about, and they're basically saying that, hey, you need to have a BOC3 on file. Designation of process agent notice. So these BOC3, so you guys know what they are. They are a registered process agent, which basically is this. It's because you guys are crossing state lines, right? Let's say that you're in Texas and you go to Florida and you have an issue there and someone wants to sue you, but you're in Texas and they want to sue you in their state, but you don't have a residency there, you don't have anything there. So what happens is you sign up with these these companies that have process agents in all states. And what they do is they file a BOC3 for you and say, hey, if any incidents happen, we'll take those documents on your behalf on the state of Florida from one of our offices, and we'll go ahead and send it over to you. So that's it. That's a BOC3. No big deal. It costs $35. At least that's the lowest I've seen. I think maybe some $25. $35, and you only pay it if you update your name. You only pay it again if you change your name or change your address. Besides that, it's a one-time payment. No big deal there. So FMCSA is basically saying, hey, make sure that you have a BOC3 on file. And I think they ask again down the line. Just a heads up, just because you get a DOT, is this what they're saying? Applicants may not engage in operations without registration and an active USDOT number. A USDOT number becomes active only after registration has been granted by FMCSA. Registration will not be granted without financial responsibility and process agent filings when required. Certification. This is certification oath signature notice is just saying that this is who's going to sign. Is it going to be an employee, a partner, or an authorized third party? So, oh, so this one's kind of annoying. So, and just so you guys know, I'm summarizing this for you. I can read it word for word, but there's really no point. I know what these mean, and this is just saying, hey, I want you to know that after an hour and 20 minutes, your information becomes public. So something to keep in mind, you guys. Your info actually does become public, and I'll show you guys where you can actually go and see your DOT at the end of this. But your info becomes public. Brokers, everybody who's associated with trucking knows about this, and they can go and type in your DOT number, and they can see your address, they can see your phone number, they can see the type of commodities you haul, they can see all your DOT violations. In fact, I'll pull one out on the side here. Let me get it ready. So, after you set up your DOT, if you do it in the morning, heads up. Your phone's going to start blowing up in about an hour and 30 minutes. You're going to start getting junk emails. What you can do, all right, so what I would do when you're setting up your DOT is I would use a different email. However, it's not a junk email. You need to be checking this email in case you do get something from your State Department or FMCSA. Not that they email a lot, they actually mail, but some of the state departments actually do email. But I would create a separate email because you will get a lot of junk email there. A lot of people offering services that you might not even need. And a lot of them are going to pretend like they're part of the government, especially drug and alcohol consortium companies. And what they do is they call you and they make it sound, they're very aggressive, which is not okay. They're basically using fear as a tactic to sell, which is not okay at all. And they make it seem like if you don't do it, it's over. There's a ton of drug and alcohol consortiums to choose from. None of them are mandated by, or none of them are connected with FMCSA in any way besides sending over information to them. When you do sign up with FMCSA, you're gonna get two letters. One's gonna be your PIN number, your MC PIN number. Save it. You're probably not going to use anytime soon, but when you need it, you're going to wish you had it. And your PIN number is like your password to enter the system. The other letter you're going to get is a letter by FMCSA just telling you to call an 800 number because they want to verify that you did create, that the DOT is for you, that you did create, that you do want it. And on there, on that letter, it has the 800 number, and then it says, make sure you get your BOC3 and UCR, which we'll go over. That's about it. Besides that, you're just going to be getting a lot of junk to your home, your inbox, and you're going to be getting phone calls. So just a heads up, that's going to happen. That's what this is telling you. And on FMCSA's website, in regards to people like businesses pretending like they're part of the government, FMCSA actually warns the public about that, and just something to keep out, you guys. If you guys see those, spam them. Like, just, all these guys trying to pretend like they're part of the government. Spam their email is what I would do, because they need to knock that stuff off. So let's go ahead and move on over. So here we are. We're starting the application, and what I like to do is I'm actually pulling up a notepad. All right, I'm actually going to save. I'm going to create a password. This is going to ask me to create a password, and I'm going to save it. Whoop. That's not what I wanted to do. And then it's going to ask me for some security questions. Bulldog. Security questions. All right, let me pick these out. So let's see. All right, what's my high school mascot? Bulldog. Least favorite vegetables? Carrot. What's my first car? Honda. All right, what's going on here? Okay, we're good. So I'm gonna hit next. So I'm gonna save it because now I can come back in at any time. I come back in at any time, and moving forward, it's going to save all my information. I have my username and password to log back in. So let me go ahead. So we're going to hit. Very first portion, they're going to ask you for contact information. Who's who's filling out this application and what's their relationship. Is it applicant representative? So if I'm a third party company, right, that would be myself right there, applicant representative. In this case, I'm opening up my own DOT. All right, so it's going to be myself, the owner. I'm the contact. You can contact myself. All right. Applicant contact title. I'm the owner. My address. Guys, if you're in a rural area, middle of nowhere, you might have some issues with your address here. And you know because you've already had issues with your address. But your address does have to pull up here. If not, you can't move forward. So this isn't my address. I'm actually making it up so I can get through the system. Phone number. So this is what I'm talking about. The number you put here is the number that they're gonna call a lot. All right, so I'm making up a dummy number. Applicant contact email address. Put my email there. Whoop. Says preferred contact method, email or mail. Do both. Do both. I'm gonna hold you both ways. FMCSA needs to capture the business details regarding the applicant. All right. Does the applicant have a Dun & Bradstreet number? No, I do not. Legal business name. Okay, so this is one of the first errors that we see. If you're a sole proprietor, your legal business name is what your license shows or what your ID shows, right? So my license shows Oscar M. Hernandez. That's my legal business name if I'm a sole proprietor. If you're an LLC, like myself, open up an LLC, Oscar's Trucking LLC, then you go ahead and put the name of your company there. So if you're a sole proprietor, you would put your name here, right? So to kind of show you, you put your legal name here, whatever your license has, hit next, and then you would put doing your DBA here, Oscar's Trucking. All right. I see that a lot, like a lot. So legal business name is the name of your company. If you're a sole proprietor, it is the name on your license, right? How it reads out on your license. So Oscar's Trucking LLC, since we are doing an LLC. Do I have a DBA? Nope. Is the applicant's principal place of business address the same as the applicant's contact address? So yes, I'm gonna use the same address that I pre-filled for my contact information. And then it's just saying, make sure that this is your address and is the mailing address the same. So next. So in case I went too fast here, I just selected that my mailing is same as principal place of business. That was it, copied it over and hit next. So now it's asking for the business phone number, right? The first number was for the contact person. Now it's the business number, right? In this case, if it's yourself, just use the same number. Heads up, now you guys, again, this is that number that they're gonna blow up. So just keep in mind, like the first couple of, it's gonna be for the first couple of months, but it's really the first week where like you're gonna probably get 5, 7 a day. And you could, just so you know, you could put a dummy number there and update it in about 3 days. Just so you know, it's really up to you with the USDOT PIN. But if not, then just leave it as is. So in here, you can use a tax ID or social security number. We recommend a tax ID. You're going to be getting all these carrier packets, right? They're going to want you to fill out the W-9s and all that stuff. You really don't want your social security flying out like that. Just get a tax ID, use that instead. I know it might cause for the sole proprietor a little bit more, but why have your social if you don't have to? Up to you though. But I would use my tax ID instead of having to put give my social out all the time. So I'll make something up right here. All right. Hold on. Did I do it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can't see it if you have it right. If you put it incorrect, but you can see it up ahead. I'll show you guys. Okay. Oh, this is something cool. Okay, so the actual site has what should I say here? Anything that's highlighted in blue, you can actually just scroll over it and it'll tell you what it means. So is the applicant a unit of government, basically, military, mail? Are you one of these type of equipments? No, not if you're hauling mail, right? But rather you're a vehicle, from it's county's hauled vehicle, or one of the city vehicles, right? So no, we're for hire. We're for hire, and we're not part of the government. Then it's asking you are you a sole proprietor, partnership? Which one are you? If you answer like, it's going to ask you what state did you incorporate in. So mine's Texas. Owned and then it's going to ask you who controls it. Owned and controlled by a citizen of the United States. You know it. Company contact. So this is actually the owner, right? So if you're doing it for somebody else, it would be their information, whoever the owner is. In this case, it's just myself. So just filling out basic contact information here, nothing crazy. And then my number. Alright, so that's my information as the owner. Now it wants to know the business address, which it's the same thing. You're probably inputting the same thing like 3 times in this system. Delano. Again, you guys, I do not live here. Do not try to find me here, because you won't catch me. No, I'm just kidding. I don't live here. Okay, so now it's just showing you, hey, this is all the information. This is where I was telling you about the EIN. Like if you can't see it, just come here, make sure that it's correct. I made that one up, you guys. So basically it's asking, hey, is this correct? Every section is going to do this. Hey, is this information correct that you filled out? If so, good, hit next. Now we're actually getting to the juicy stuff. That was just basic contact info. Now they want to know if you're going to be a household good mover, you're going to be a broker, freight forwarder, cargo tank facility, intermodal equipment provider. These are the different type of authorities we're going to go through. And I'm sure you guys have seen other YouTube videos of guys saying like they messed up and they selected too many authorities. It's because they selected more than one of these. And I'm gonna go over them so that way you're aware of which one you need to choose. And most likely, we're all gonna fall right here, right? Unless you're a broker, most of us are gonna fall right here. In fact, the majority of us will probably. I'm sorry, right here. Sorry, I meant this one. This is for passengers. The majority of us are gonna fall right here. We're a motor carrier of property, whether you're a private carrier or for hire, and I'll go over that. So let's go ahead and move forward. So will the applicant operate as an intermodal equipment provider? So there's some people out there that actually provide intermodal, like the chassis, right here, the chassis, and which is basically the bottom trailer part when they put these type of containers right here. So the chassis is actually right there, that equipment back here, they actually have to have an authority for that. So just hit no. This isn't going to be you guys. You guys want to go go into more depth into definition. By all means, figure out what intermodal equipment provider is. But basically, they provide equipment for intermodal container haulers. And because they provide this type of equipment that deals with federally regulated cargo, they need an MC number. And I'll go over that in just a minute. But are we intermodal equipment provider? No. You would know if you're one. Will the applicant transport property? Yes, right? Regardless, that's what we're doing. We're hauling cargo. So the answer is yes. Will the applicant receive compensation for the business transporting the property belonging to others? Absolutely. That's what's called the for hire. And they have a picture here that you're picking up at Acme Inc. But JNI LLC is actually the company. You're being paid by Acme Inc. So that's an actual for hire definition right there. And if you're getting paid to haul, it's on a for hire basis. You're being hired to haul. So yes, we are being paid to transport other people's property. If you're transporting your own property, you're no longer for hire. You're actually private carrier, and I'll go over that in just a second. What type of property will the applicant transport? So so right now it's just gonna go broad, hazmat, household goods, exempt commodities, and we're over here, other non-hazardous freight. This is where flatbed, general freight, dump trucks, everybody else but these guys are gonna go in, all right? Will the applicant transport non-hazardous material across state lines, otherwise known as interstate commerce? So they want to know, are you gonna do you require an MC number because you're going to cross state lines? Remember, non-hazardous, although they're putting non-hazardous here, we're talking about general freight, flatbed, dump trucks, everybody else that's not hazmat, household good movers, or exempt commodities. Are you going to be crossing state lines? Now, here's the thing about your MC number. Actually, another picture is going to come up in a minute to help explain this. It's not about it's not about whether you're crossing state lines or not. You're going to notice, like a lot of you with box trucks, that you're under the weight limit, but you still require an MC number even though you're not crossing state lines. It's because most of box trucks are dealing with commodities that are crossing state lines. So let me give you an example. Let's say that the commodity is coming from Florida to Texas, okay? And or Florida to Georgia. And what happens is the commodity starts, let's say, in Miami, and it goes all the way right close to the border of Georgia. You're in Georgia now, and they drop it off at a warehouse. Now, this warehouse, right? This isn't your warehouse where you're storing and you save for days. No, these type of warehouses, basically the load's just there for minutes, for hours, maybe 24 hours. But for the most part, the loads are gonna be added, and those are called freight forwarders. All right. So if this commodity is coming from Florida and it goes into Georgia and it gets delivered at this warehouse, right? And then a box truck comes and picks up that commodity from this warehouse and takes it all the way to Best Buy, they have to carry an MC number because the commodity that they're hauling is an interstate commodity. The commodity is being, if anything crosses state lines or comes in from the ports from another country, that's a federally regulated commodity. And so it's not about whether you're crossing state lines, rather if that commodity came from a different state or from a different country. So it's not so much whether you're crossing state lines, right? So you guys know, when people that have to go into the ports, that's why they require an MC number. It's because they're hauling commodities that are coming from a different country, right? Different regulations, and FMCSA has to be involved in it, right? They're federally regulated commodities. So anything that crosses state lines requires an MC to haul. So again, it's not whether you cross state lines or not. It's actually whether the loads that you're going to be hauling, if they're going to be coming from either overseas or from a different state. What true intrastate operation is, when you stay within your own state, is if you pick up a load within that state that originated from that state and you're taking it within that state to another destination. That's your interstate. Interstate, normally people see it when they cross state lines, but like you guys notice, like your box trucks working with Amazon, what do? They make you get an MC number. Why? Because their packages are coming from all over the place. So just something to keep in mind. And it's okay if you don't know. Just ask your contracts that you're working with. Go ask the brokers, like, what do they require an MC? Do most of the loads require an MC? And you'll see, and some do, some don't. I mean, that's just really homework for you to find out. You can always add the MC. Let's say you say, no, I don't think I'm going to cross state lines, but I'm not sure right now. You can always add it later. One thing that's great about the DOT is that you can always update this information. It's really there's a process, right? But it's not a big deal if you mess up on some of this or you start off and you do it wrong, as long as you correct it before you finish, before you get your insurance and go through the finish line. Make sure you have it all done correct. But in the beginning, you mess up here and there. No big deal. Let's fix it. And make sure that by the time you're complete, it's all right. So I'm gonna cross state line because I want to drive within my region so I can make some money. All right. So yes, I want the MC number. And I didn't want to confuse anybody. If the commodity crosses state lines, then I also want loads to deal with those type of commodities. So yes, we're interstate haulers. We're dealing with property that's crossing state lines, and we would like to take those type of loads. So yes, will the applicant transport their own property? So this is private carriers. and they have a picture here. You see Acme Inc. is hauling, and it's being hauled by Acme Inc., their own product. So that's a private carrier. So a manufacturing company who delivers their own equipment to somebody, that's a private carrier. They don't need an authority. They just need the DOT. They still have to obey, the Drug and Alcohol Consortium laws, vehicle maintenance, driver qualifications, all that good stuff. They still use, as a private carrier, you still have to obey that. You just don't need an actual authority. You just need your DOT number. So another person that fits into this is, let's say, to maybe help simplify, is a landscaper. A landscaper who has their own dump truck, right? They're grossed over the 26,000 pounds, have to have CDL, all that good stuff, right? They have a dump truck, but they're not paid to haul the dirt. They're actually there to paid to put up a beautiful yard. Hauling the dirt is just a product effect of what they're doing. So removing that dirt, they're not being paid for that necessarily. They're being paid to fix the yard. Removing the dirt is just something that comes with the job. They have their own dump truck, put the dirt, take it out. That's a private carrier. That's someone that's hauling their own commodities, their own equipment, their own cargo. Right? So will the applicant transport their own property? No, we're for hire. We haul other people's property. Will the applicant transport any passengers? Not transporting any passengers. You guys transporting any passengers, you also need your MC. $5 million liability too. Will the applicant provide property of household good? So this is where people start selecting and getting other authorities. So when you're selecting yes to these, you're going to pay $300 for each one. So no, we're not a broker. We're not, and I'm not doing any household good moving. Will the applicant provide freight forwarder service? Guys, that was so freight forwarder is right here, right? And they're basically a company that holds cargo for a moment and then sends it off, right? So, and it was in that example that I was teaching in regards to the vehicle coming from state line from Florida into Georgia, dropping it off at that warehouse. At that warehouse, that's where your freight forwarders are at. So because they're holding on to federally regulated commodities, they also need an MC number, right? So no, I'm not a freight forwarder. I'm a motor carrier. Will the applicant operate a cargo tank facility? You guys want to know what that is? Just any of these items, just go over it, highlight it over in blue. No. We're not a facility, right? We're motor carriers. So this one's a no-brainer. We're motor carriers, so select no. Will the applicant operate as a drive-away? The answer is no again because I'm a motor carrier. But a drive-away is basically someone that hauls units from point A to B. Most of these point A to B are from the manufacturing company over to the dealership, or manufacturing over to whoever purchased it. That's what a drive-away is. Two wheels have to be on the floor just like they show it here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You can go over it between a vehicle manufacturer facility, between a vehicle manufacturer and dealership or purchaser. So drive-away, different. They're basically just pulling vehicles that are being purchased and sold, right? Drive-away operation. So no, we're not a drive-away operation. Will the applicant operate as a tollway? So when I said vehicles, let me go back here. I'm talking about semi-trucks. All right, I'm not talking about auto hauling. That's something else. I'll show you guys up ahead. Will the applicant operate as a drive-away? So no. Will the applicant operate as a tollway? So this is you tow truck guys, right? So that's different, right? Drive-away is for semi-trucks, hauling semi-trucks. Tollway is for people that are broken down vehicles need towed. Now they're asking us for our commodities. I'm gonna keep mine simple and I'm gonna choose general freight, and I'm gonna get a 53 footer dry van, keep it like that. But let's say that you're flatbed, right? You'll probably want to if you're flatbed, I would leave general freight, choose some building materials. What else? You got to look at your contract, right? Some machinery you can fit on there. That's about it. Right, so you got to look at what you're hauling and select your commodity, the commodities that you're going to haul. And again, you guys, if you mess up and down the line as you're shopping through insurance or dealing with talking to brokers, and they say, "Oh no, this is what we're going to be doing," you just come back and update it. No big deal, right? If it's not on here, let's say liquid asphalt, just put other and then type in what it is, or you dump truck guys dirt, sand and gravel, right? In fact, I'll leave it like that. I'll leave it like that. I'll select other. Dirt, sand, and gravel. And now it's going to ask you, hey, are you sure all of these are correct? Yes. They want to know, they want information in regards to the vehicles we plan on operating. So just so you guys know, in this example, semi-truck is what I'm operating with. I'll select it as I'm doing a power only, okay? That means no trailer. Please provide the number of non-commercial vehicles that the applicant plans on operate. 0. The semi-truck. Right? So, and I know it starts off like, why are they asking that question, non-commercial vehicles? They're going to want to know things like, do you require drug and alcohol consortium so they can keep an eye on you for that? If you have CDL drivers, I'm sorry, let me go back. If you pass over 100 miles, do you need ELD? So this is why they're asking these questions. So non-commercial vehicle, no, mine's a commercial vehicle. All right, so right here, a little bit of confusion, and that's because of FMCSA. They should have added some extra things here, but basically they want to know what you own or what you lease, okay? And in this case, I own 1 semi, and then everything else is 0. Okay, and then trailers, I don't own any. I'm a lease one on a term basis. All right. If you're a dually, a cargo van, a box truck, all you other guys are going to fit right here. All right, under straight trucks. FMCSA doesn't have another option for dualies, pickups, or anything else that doesn't fit under truck tractor. Same with your tandems, just put them right there. Super dumps, put them right there as truck tractors. But the rest of you guys are basically going to go cargo van, pickups, box trucks. You guys are going to go under straight trucks, all right? And then just choose the trailer. And it doesn't matter if you have one or not. And if you get one later down the line, again, guys, no big deal. Just come and update it. The way you're setting up your DOT is how you plan on starting, not... Because I see some people put like 8 vehicles, 8 drivers, and that's what they want to get to. No, you put what you're going to apply for is how you're going to start. And once you start growing, then you can add those other things. So hit next. Wait, did I hit my trailer? Yeah, okay. Next. Please provide the number of commercial vehicles that operate in Canada or Mexico. So none. Not that you can't. You have the international authorities, but I'm not doing that. Please provide the number of commercial vehicles, the number of commercial motor vehicles that will operate solely in interstate commerce. So even if you guys are going to do intrastate as well, so basically what I'm saying is if you plan on crossing state lines only, they're saying so how many vehicles. But what I'm saying is that if you're going to cross state lines and you're staying within the state, you're doing both, it's fine. Just hit 1 on interstate. All right. Let me go back here. If you're crossing, if you need the MC number, make sure you put 1 here, or however many vehicles you're starting off with. Please provide the number of commercial motor vehicles the applicant will operate solely in interstate commerce. So even though it's not solely in interstate commerce, this is the way that you're going to do it, because I'll show you. Then the question is, please provide the number of commercial vehicles the applicant will operate solely in interstate. So they're trying to find out if you're an interstate driver or an interstate driver. So if you select solely interstate, it covers interstate and also intrastate within your own state. If you're not interstate, crossing state lines, and you're intrastate, meaning you let's read this, transportation of passenger property entirely within one state that is not part of a through movement that originates or terminates in another state or country. Basically, you're picking up a load from point A to B, and that package is not a through movement from a different state or out of it from a different country. So that's interstate, from point A to B within your own state, and they're not federally regulated commodities. And again, federally regulated commodities is commodities that cross state lines or is coming from a different country. So is this all correct? Sure is. FMCSA needs to capture some details regarding the type of driver the companies will utilize. Okay, basically same questions. What is the number of drivers who will operate as interstate within 100 miles? No, beyond 100 miles. They want to know, are you doing ELD or paper logs? So we're beyond, right? I want to target my region. What is the number of drivers who operate solely in intrastate? 0, 0. I'm interstate. If you're intrastate, that you're adding your stuff here, and 0 in interstate. So again, intrastate, you're staying in your own state. Inter, ER, is where you're getting your MC number. Intrastate authority is different. You don't get an MC number if you're staying within your own state. Now, if you're staying within your own state and you're hauling regulated commodities, you can still get the interstate authority. Like you can do that. It's not a problem. What are the number of drivers with commercial driver's license? And it's going to be 1. It's just myself. I'm the owner op. What are the number of drivers who will operate in Canada or Mexico? 0. Not going there. Is this all correct? So they want to ask us a couple of questions to determine the insurance that we need. And so the question is, will any of the basically are you gonna gross over 10,000 in 1 pound? I'm a semi truck, so I'll put yes. But I'm gonna show you guys if you hit no for you cargo vans that require an MC, maybe because you're working with Amazon. Or another contract that requires an MC, but you're under the 10,000 pounds, that's the amount of liability you're going to have to carry. The rest of us is actually 750. So I'm going to go back here. So I selected yes, right? Box trucks, dualies, everybody, right? You guys are going to go here. So you can select yes. We're going to be grossed over the 10,001 pounds. Because of that, then FMCSA says, hey, then you're required, your liability is 750,000. Now, that's for dump trucks. If you require an MC, the liability that you need is 750,000. Now, the state might require a different limit, right? Most states require 500,000 as their maximum. But your brokers, however. So you guys are looking at this like, oh, but I hear that you have to get $1 million liability. Most of the contracts, probably 90% of the contracts that you're going to get require a $1 million liability. So even though FMCSA requires 750,000, most of your contracts are going to require the $1 million. And again, look into your contracts. But if you're a semi-truck, it's $1 million. Box trucks, you might be able to get away with it. Dump trucks, it varies on the contract. It can be 500 or 1 million. So just check, but for the most part, everybody's getting not everybody, right? But a good handful are going to need the $1 million liability. Now, your insurance company is only going to file what FMCSA requires. They'll cover you for $1 million, but they're only going to file what FMCSA requires. If you're an auto hauler, you require $1 million in liability, right? If we switch up the commodities and do it to auto hauling, you're going to require $1 million in liability. Hazmat, $5 million, and also if you're carrying transporting passengers, $5 million. Okay. So hit next. They want to know if I've had another DOT in the past before. This is what they're saying. And the question is, does the applicant currently have or has had within the last 3 years of date of the filing of this application relationships involving common stock, common ownership, common management, common control, familiar relationship, or any other person or applicant for registration? Have you had another DOT? No. If you have, what's going on? Are you trying to do a new one? I'm just going to take a moment to just talk about this. If you've had another DOT before, you can't run away from it. Your DOT is like your social. You need to fix the other one. The only time I see someone opening up a new DOT is because they were partnering another one and they're doing their own thing, or because they're trying to run away from the mess that they got with all the DOT violations. And if you do set up another DOT, they're going to link it. They're going to link it to you. It's just a matter of time. And the reason they're going to link it to you, you can open up another DOT, but FMCSA, what they're going to do is they're going to link it to your DOT once they find out that it belongs to you. And then everybody's going to see that you're related to that DOT, and they're going to look up that DOT's violations, what happened with them, and even the insurance companies. They're actually going to take a look at the other DOT and see what happened and rate your new DOT based on the old one. So really, if you've jacked up your DOT, the best thing you can do is clean it up. And you can clean it up, but it's going to cost you. That's why you guys, for your new guys, be proactive. Stay on top of your maintenance. It's you have to do it anyways. Just it's part of business. The guys I see that are on top of compliance, sure enough, have the least amount of problems. I mean, it's because you're on top of your business, basically. So yeah, if you have another DOT, you gotta let them know. If not, you're falsifying information. I don't have another DOT. Hit next. You must certify that everything you're talking about is true and correct. That's what they're saying here. And this is, I'll read this bottom part. I further certify, so this is saying, hey, you're not lying. We're going to fine you and send your butt to jail. All right. I further certify under penalty of perjury, injury, under the laws of the United States that I have not been convicted after September 1st, 1990 of any federal or state offense involving the distribution or possession of a controlled substance, of a controlled substance, or that I have been so convicted, I'm not eligible to receive federal benefits either by court order or operation of law, pursuant to code, so forth. If you have any issues, you do have to let FMCSA know. It doesn't mean that your account's not going to be processed. However, if you had any type of traffic issues that involved any of these items, you're not going to get a DOT. Right? Shouldn't have done that. But in some cases, you can actually, if something happened, it wasn't right, and you corrected it, you can actually continue with your DOT and then file the information over to FMCSA. It's not that you won't get approved; it's just a different process. Okay. So I don't want to say that you won't get it, but just if you know that you didn't. Basically, if you have things that can clear you up in court, you're fine. Take it over to DOT, and then they'll go ahead and work it out with you. The rest of us, yes, we understand. Don't lie. We'll get in trouble. All right. So let me get my password here. All right. Hit next. This saying that everything we have spoken about is true and correct. And this next part, let me read this and I'll explain. Does the applicant certified is willing and able to provide the proposed operations or service and to comply with all pertinent statutory and regulatory requirements and regulations issued or administered by the U.S. Department of Transportation, including operational regulations, safety fitness requirement, motor vehicle safety standards, and minimum financial responsibility and designation of process agent service? They're basically saying, hey, if they ask you, and it's going to actually pull it up in a couple of minutes, the next couple of slides. If FMCSA can ask you for your compliance documents, and within 48 hours you have to provide it, and you are aware that you have to be within good standings within their operational regulations, safety fitness requirement, motor vehicle. So let me break these down. Operation regulations, basically we're talking about insurance, having the right permits, having your IFTIC tags and all that in place, if that's what it means. Safety fitness requirements, making sure that you're properly licensed, medical card, so forth. Drug and alcohol consortium program. Motor vehicle safety standards basically means, are you on top of your vehicle maintenance? And then financial responsibility, do you have insurance in place? And designation of process agent, do you have your BOC3? So at any time that they ask you, you have to provide those things within 48 hours. Don't worry in the beginning. They're not going to bug you while we're getting all this set up. In fact, what you should be doing during this time is getting those things set up, is having a vehicle maintenance plan in place. And you guys, I really forgot to mention, on the bottom of this link, on the bottom of this video, my apologies, on the bottom of this video, look for, it'll be a link over to our website. If you scroll all the way down, there is a new entrant checklist. And this new entrant checklist actually goes over all these requirements. And FMCSA also doesn't have a checklist, but they have their own guide as well. So I'm gonna put a link on there as well. And this will help you stay on top of compliance. Compliance isn't all that crazy. It's just really being on top of your paperwork. That's really, and that's obviously vehicle inspection. There's some physical activity to it, like the vehicle's inspections. But stay on top of it weekly, stay on top of it monthly, and you won't have to worry about it. There is, for everybody obtaining an MC, you will have what's called a new entrant audit and I was going to tell you guys this at the end, but since we're talking about it, the new entrant audit. This is an audit that is done by DOT for every new motor carrier that applies, and it's done in between they say 3 to 9 months. I've seen it more like 9 to 12 months. But they're going to go over these items, and they're going to ask you to submit all this information over to them, and it's actually it's a big deal, but it's not that hard. And it's actually really great that they do this service, and for the public, right? Like as a business owner, you don't want to do more, you know what I mean? But we also have to look at the public, which is ourselves, right? We're the consumers, we're the citizens, and we need to be protected as well. And so what they're doing is making sure that, hey, that this motor carrier, that they're in good standing to operate these heavy machines on the road, right? And the first audit, with the new entrant audit, you actually don't get scored on. So that's a big thing. You don't get scored on. Every audit after that, you will get scored on, and the audits are huge. If you're being audited, it's not a good thing. But the first audit, it's more like a slap on the hand. It's okay if you have a couple of things wrong. They're not going to grade you on it. But if you fail any of the big stuff, if they come and they see your vehicle is just jacked up, if they see you're not enrolled into drug and alcohol control, or if you don't have the proper licenses, bam, suspended, done. All right. Not that you can't activate it. If your DOT gets suspended, you just need to do opposite of what you didn't do. Get your permits, get everything correct, refile it, and boom, we'll get the DOT back going. But yeah, so the new entrant audit is actually really nice because they can also even tell you what you're doing wrong. So we prepare our clients. The new entrant audit, all that. Like I said, it's a big deal as in sense for your company, but it's not hard because all the items you should have already in place. You should have it. We should just be uploading it over to FMCSA. So get that checklist, download it. It's a good guide to go ahead and get you started, and it goes over the items that they're looking for. The checklist is a little bit more detailed than what they ask in the first audit, but the checklist is about being compliant, not about trying to pass the first audit. Because if you follow the checklist, you'll pass the audit, no doubt. So yes, I am aware that I have to have all of these things in place, all right, and that DOT can ask me for these items, and I have to submit it over to them. And actually, it continues that part. And this is the section where it says within 48 hours that you have to submit all those items over to them. No problem. And again, you guys, in the beginning, they're not going to ask for it while we're setting up the DOT. However, just so you guys know, if there's ever an accident involved, the first thing that they look for is vehicle maintenance log and driver qualification. And that's why you have to be on top of your stuff, because if something were to happen and you don't have this ready and you're waiting for the new entrant audit to call you guys and you have an accident, I mean, how is that going to look when you're trying to say it wasn't my fault? The company that is not on top of their stuff. You know what I mean? As a company, it's your responsibility to be on top of these items. And you're going to look good if you have all of this squared away, an accident were to happen, and hey, it was just an accident. We did A through Z like we were supposed to. You know, the outcome is going to be different. Okay? Certify. Does the applicant certify is not currently disqualified for operating commercial vehicles in the United States? If you are, come on, you can't get the DOT, all right? Does the applicant certify it understands the agent for service or process destination will be deemed the applicant's official representative in the United States for receipt of filing notices and administrative proceedings? This is what I was telling you about the process service agent. They're going to take our legal items on our behalf, and then they're going to mail it over to myself because I'm in Texas, right? So yes, I'm aware that they're going to represent me. They're just going to grab the items and send it over. That's as much of a representation they have. Does the applicant certify that the carrier is not prohibited from filing this application because FMCSA registration is currently under suspension, DOT suspensions, revoked, or was revoked, or was revoked less than 30 days before filing an application? Yes. Right, for all you new guys, right, you certify. Everybody else, make sure that you correct it. And if you have, then you can go ahead and continue on to the next step. If the applicant registration is currently revoked, does the applicant certify the deficiencies cited in the revocation proceedings have been corrected? Let's do it. My signature. Want it. Is all this correct? Well, yes, it is. Applicant's oath. That's myself. Whoever is processing this application, they're asking the same questions, not falsifying any information, and I'm not convicted with any of this stuff. That is correct. Password, title, the owner. You can put member as well, president, whatever you want, that's fine. FMCSA requires applicants to have access to FMCSA portal. Okay, these next logins you're going to need for the clearinghouse, all right, or the new, when you set up your DOT, you're going to get logins. There's two different sites. You have your FMCSA portal, and then you have the back end to the DOT where you can make changes like address change and items like that. This is for the portal. You're not going to use this a whole lot. You do have to update it in case anything, like you change your address, change your name, you do have to update it, but for the most part, you're not going to use this portal a whole lot. However, as of January 2020, FMCSA Clearinghouse, in order to sign up with them, and I'll put a link under there, so everybody who's every motor carrier with commercial vehicles needs to sign up with the FMCSA Clearinghouse. Google it. It's as easy as applying, registering for Netflix. If you guys need help, give us a call. We're more than happy to help you guys out. But you do need these specific logins to get that job done. Okay, so your logins are very, very important to all this stuff. Please save them somewhere. Should the company official role be assigned to the company contact Oscar United? So they're assigning a role, the registered user for this portal. I'm the owner, yeah, assign it to me. And I'm going to use the same password, same login information. Verify your information. I don't want to be contacted. Both. Always select both. Why? Why not? Would you like to use the same security questions? I sure do. And now it's telling you, hey, don't falsify anything. Don't you're trying to hack FMCSA. If so, 10 years, buddy. Got it. I'm not trying to do that, man. I ain't got time for that. I gotta work. All right, so same thing. Yes, I'm gonna play by your rules. I agree with you. Right? We don't have time to mess around with this stuff. Right here, they're saying, hey, you as the portal registrant, it is your responsibility to make sure that the DOT stays updated. If there's a new contact person that comes in, that stays updated. Sure, that's me. So you do have to keep your portal up to date once a year, basically. But not a whole lot you're going to do with it except for the clearinghouse information I was talking about. So yes, I'm aware that if I need to make any changes, I'll go ahead and update it, and I'm capable of taking care of the portal. So this is your FMCSA logins, okay? Save them, save them, save them. Okay, we're at the end here. So FMCSA has determined the applicant will operate as for-hire property carrier, general freight. All right. To proceed with submitting the applicant's application, an application fee of $300 is required. And you guys, this because I selected the other, just so you know, it'll just populate that. So they're basically saying, hey, you applied for your motor carrier application, it's going to be $300. Got it. That is how much it costs. If you're getting a DOT only, your Intrastate only, you're not going to pay for anything, but you're just going to get your DOT at the end. This is telling you that there are some fees, the $300 fee, you can use credit card, and heads up, FMCSA does not do any type of refunds. If you selected multiple authorities, you messed up, and you pay more than $300, no refund. And to remove the authorities, believe it or not, is like a 2-week process. All right, so it can be a pain in the butt. So yes, I am aware, no refunds, the whole shebang. So then after this, you guys, after we enter, so I'm not going to continue, right? I'm making a dummy DOT. But after we continue right here, so I'm gonna go back. Sorry, let me go forward. After we make this payment, you're gonna get your DOT is gonna show right here, like up here somewhere. All right, and then your MC, you won't see it. You won't see it until tomorrow, and I'm gonna show you guys where you can actually view that. Let me see here. So you won't see your MC number until tomorrow. However, you're probably, you know, the emails I told you after an hour and a half, those guys actually see the MC before you. So there are some people that will say, hey, here's your MC number, and then that's when they're going to pitch you the rest of the stuff, all right? And I mean, that's pretty cool. You'll get an email to you. If not, that's okay. What you can do is come over to this site. Let me pull it up here. And you can drop in your DOT number. Now I just pulled up a DOT number, right? Just to show you guys. So let me go back here. You're done. After that, you get your DOT, and then your MC. You can come and pull it up here the next day. You don't get any type of document, just so you know. What you want to do is print. You want to hit print on the very last page. Once you get your DOT, and hit print all summary HTML, and it'll print the entire application for you. Save it, right? After that, once you print it, once you make the payment and you print it, you're done. What I want to show you is Safer Site, right? Or Safety and Fitness Electronic Records. I'll also put the link on the bottom as well. This site is where I was telling you where they can actually pull up your information. So I just grabbed a random DOT. You guys have no idea who this is, okay? So and I punched it in there. So I'm gonna go back. You can put in your DOT number, the MC number, the name. So let's say this is the next day. You punch in the DOT number, and of course now it's gonna go slow. And right away you can see that this is an active carrier, the name of the company, their address, their phone number, how many units they have, they're authorized for hire. We scroll down, we can see they're intrastate only. And they're hauling construction equipment. You see they selected other and put construction equipment, right? You can see how many inspections they've had. They've had a total of 1 inspection. How many times were they out of service? 0. So this is your safer, this is safer, or what they call a snapshot. This is what brokers and insurance companies use to rate you guys. They're gonna go through here, they're gonna look at your DOT violations, they're gonna look at your score, or in your guys' case, they're gonna look at the new DOT that there's nothing there, it's a brand new DOT. On the top right hand side, I'm just going to right click this open, but on the top right hand side to SMS result, which is called Safety Measurement System, in here you can actually see all the DOT violations they've had. So they've only had 1 inspection, right? Well, you can actually come to that inspection and look on that inspection, operating a commercial vehicle without proof of a periodic inspection, and they got a violation of 1 point on it. So they got total inspections, and you can actually click on the inspection, right? Select the inspection down here, and you can actually see the vehicles that were inspected, right? And the date and where it was inspected. That's what I mean by your information is public. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? They can even get your email information. There's a whole nother process to get to that, but they can also get your email information. That's how they start sending those junk emails out. So this is safer. You can come in here and take a look at your DOT and your DOT information, same information that's public. You can even pull up the insurance information right here. So that's it, guys. That's it. Setting up your own DOT. I do want to stress the fact that that it's very important to keep your DOT clean. Be up to date on your maintenance. If you're hiring people on, think about it. They're not going to care as much as you are about your USDOT. It is important to have vehicle maintenance plan in place, even more so when you're hiring other people, because they just don't care. They're not going to care. I've seen companies go out and, some business owners say, well, they didn't have their vehicle. And yeah. But it's your company. It's your company at the end of the day. You guys, any question at all, please let us know. I'm hoping this helps you guys out. Hopefully we can eliminate some of the issues. All the links will be down on this video. Any question at all, please let me know. Thanks, you guys.